1, 2, 3, 4. One-legged Roger and his one-legged mother.
This is the reason why I'm doing this show, because it's a difficult conversation and it's a long conversation, but it still needs to happen.
You gave that person a taste of
right. Like it was a microsecond of the whole experience.
Which I never thought.
And I even heard Tyler Perry is opening his studio back up around July, I think. Because he's still for at least 2 of his series that he's shooting. So things are looking up, and it's all good. It's just it's a waiting game. Like you wait this whole time as an artist. So like, what's waiting a few more months? So like that's just the business. It's hurry up and wait, right?
Yeah.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
It's heartbreaking, but at the same time, like, it's a reality. And you hear all these things about essential workers and non-essential workers. And then as an artist, you look at yourself and like, it kind of bums you out because it's like, you're giving this label as essential or non-essential. As an artist, you're used to getting labels. That's what casting is. They are going to put you in a box. Dealing with the reality of being non-essential, it kind of makes you feel like you're expendable, but then you have to kind of crawl out of that hole, pump yourself back up.
You're not expendable, you're dead.
Right, yeah.
But all you gonna do?
Yeah, well,
Expendable in the sense of being a performer. I'll always be dad. That's my greatest role. Husband and dad, that's my role. I'm good on that. But then there's this other part of me that's just like, what do I do now? Or like, how do I prevent myself from being in a situation like this in the future if this were to happen again? If all of a sudden things shut down, how am I going to deal with it in a better way than what I'm dealing with it now, you know? I signed with my agency in January of 2019, like 2 weeks before August was born, and my agents are great. They believe in me, but then all of this happened, and then they're just like, all right, we'll put a halt to it. So that's why I still feel a little positive, because things were picking up, and I think they will pick back up once this is all over.
Who's your agent? How did you meet them?
I am with Atlanta Models and Talent. When I first moved to Atlanta, I was doing a show at Theatrical Outfit. I was doing the Royale, directed by Patro Harris, and I played Fish in that. And the artistic producer of the theater, or he's on his way out, but Tom Key, he is signed with AMT, and he had a meeting coming up with his agency, and he and I have had some conversations about what my goals are as far as getting into TV and film. And he spoke to them, and they invited me in to talk and send in some tapes and everything. Like, it was almost like a fast track to getting an agent. But also, I feel like I earned that because I worked hard to get in that show at Theatrical Outfit, and I worked hard to put on my best performance, and I worked hard to get those people to believe in me and to be comfortable enough to go to their agent and be like, hey, you need to look at this guy and just give him a shot. So I'm fortunate in that way compared to a lot of others. I didn't have to do a lot of footwork, I guess.
But that is a lot of footwork. Just being in the
yeah. Right.
Right. like if there is a right way to do it, that sounds like a good end. Do you have any anxiety about getting one? Did you ever feel?
Yeah, I was really nervous about that. Like I had my ideas of which agencies I wanted to approach and send my stuff into. And my plan was to do all that stuff after I finished up at Theatrical Outfit. It happened to be with one of the best agencies in town. So I didn't want to pass up that opportunity. It's still a hustle. Like I'm still trying to gain my spot or show that I can do things and be consistent. So it's a mind game.
At first started doing these because I thought it would be fun to talk to people that I haven't talked to in a long time and get advice on the road to creating theater.
Right.
Hearing from people that I admire, which you are one of them. But what I'm finding to be very helpful is that it helps both people articulate their spot or what they're trying to carve out. And that's even if only 5 people watch it or 6 people watch it, to have a little bit of a document on the library of this point in time, I think is going to be helpful, just to look back and go, oh yeah, those were the early days at Atlanta Models and Talent.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's hard to be positive in this industry because there's like these judges in the back of your mind, like saying like, oh, you're not doing this right,
Or like you should do this differently.
And it's hard to block those things out. So what I do is like I acknowledge them. And then I try and just let them go. Because if I don't acknowledge it, then it's just going to eat me up. And I'm just going to keep comparing myself to other people and their success and how they're doing things. But I need to worry about like myself and like my forward momentum. So it is helpful to watch these episodes that you've been doing and like get inspiration from them. I love the Looking Glass episode because like it's like that man does so much. You can do all of it if you just put your energy and focus it. So yeah, like it is helpful to look at people's journeys and get a positive feeling from it rather than that negative feeling of like I'm not doing enough and they're doing way more than me. So that means they are better than me. And I'm crap.
But Jesus Christ, what chance do I have?
Right. Yeah.
What gives me the right to try and pursue this big dream
that so many people are worthy of?
The part will come at the right time.
Right. Exactly. There's no need to force it or expect anything. It's all, like I said, it's a waiting game for sure.
Gosh, it's a waiting game, and it's important to, like you said, to be engaged in our own practice, whatever that thing is. And it was very clear to me. I don't know if it was useful, but when I was younger, it was very clear to just book work. And then when I got really specific in here about the work I wanted to do, I found the tavern. I found the Shakespeare Tavern.
Right.
And that was something that happened where it made sense at the time. And now, and then school. I really wanted to finish school, and then graduate school. And so now this idea of where I want to be, this is what I get to do, is I get to figure that out.
But that's why I think it's important to continue creating your own work and working on yourself, because sometimes it's going to take a while for people to warm up to you and trust you as an actor, trust that you're going to show up, trust that you're going to do the work, and that's understandable. So the only thing that we can do is prove that to ourselves and prove that to them, that we are serious artists and that we want to do the work. I think that's why graduate school was so important to me, because I went right after I finished my undergrad, because I knew there was something more that I was looking for. I just didn't know what it was. So I took a chance on graduate school and ended up at UGA. And in that program, like I really found or started to find my artistic voice and my reasoning and my purpose as an artist. And so like it shaped me as an artist, it shaped me as a creator and as an educator. So now I have all these skills because I took a chance and worked those 3 years to obtain that degree and that training. And now it's up to me. It's not up to the Atlanta theater scene to seek me out. It's up to me to show them that I'm worth the risk.
You said a great thing. It actually gave me it relieves some sort of block. The fact that I know so many people in the Atlanta theater community is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because now there's so many people to invite to my practice.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
the perception of, but they still just don't want to work with me is it's a little victim-y.
Yeah.
As
right.
opposed to, this is great. There's a lot of people who are aware of you, who know of you or know you.
Yeah.
Invite them to your practice.
In like the short time that I've been in Atlanta, like I've met so many people who are willing to put their trust in me. I've gained so many friends, talented people that are interested in the things that I'm doing.
I got bankers, police, lawyers, exes chasing after me. Oh, they're never gonna get me now. And they say the world might end, and if it doesn't, I'll be free. Oh, they're never gonna get me now.
My one-man show, Black in the Box, like it's a weird show. Like it's odd. The mask performance, the silence of it. But people are accepting of it and they're intrigued by it and they want to see more. And like that was a big worry of mine, showing up and being like, I don't want to show up and be this weirdo avant-garde wannabe type person. So like, and that's one of those judges that I was talking about earlier, like in the back of your head saying, this is not it, this is crap. So people believe in the work that I want to do because I believe in it. And I put my heart and soul into it. So I found that they appreciate it in the best of ways. So that was actually a big relief for me once I got here.
I think that you've created something that's really profound. And like Dr. J was talking about in a couple of the Webersodes back about anti-Black sentiment, violence towards African Americans, racism in this country is almost impossible to deal with.
Oh yeah.
So to have a piece that you have that helps begin a conversation.
Yeah.
Is just is there any other reason what art is for? A piece that's very profound that you could take anywhere. You literally in a suitcase.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like literally in a box. When I was developing this piece at UGA, the professor who kind of inspired it in his class, Anthony Murata, he's really talented. You also check him out. He does fringe festivals. He has his own one-man show called Becoming Human.
It'll be right up there. I think that's
what's that?
I think that's where the link will be right there.
Yeah, right there. Check it out. So the assignment was to create a mask from a piece of literature or a song or anything. I chose the song Mr. Bojangles. I think it was made famous by Sammy Davis Jr., but originated by Jerry Jeff Walker.
Yeah, it's really different than Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah, he's a white guy.
Yeah, he's a cowboy.
Yeah, right. But like I lean toward Sammy Davis Jr.'s version because just his skin made it like there's a different meaning to it because it was coming from a Black man. Like there's not that the original version is not good. Like it's a great song. It's the same song, but something about Sammy Davis Jr. just gives it more meaning. And I'm pretty sure it's just because I can look at it and be like, that's another Black man. And it gives meaning to the struggles that he is singing about. And it really hit home for me. So I created a mask, which was Bojangles. Let me go grab it.
Yeah.
So this is the Bojangles mask. If you can see it, it's made out of neoprene, just kind of like a liquid latex. And it's just like you pour it into a cast and it hardens, and then you get your mask. And I put some t-shirts in here for screen. In that song, he sings about a man who is struggling, really, I think, to find a place. He travels along singing and dancing for people with his dog. Eventually, his dog dies, and he's just left alone in this big world. And for me, like that really speaks to me, like feeling alone in a world where there's so many people and so many opportunities, but people just gloss over you. So for me, like that really speaks to the Black experience in a way. So once I put this Bojangles piece together, I was like, well, I know the assignment is done, but I'm not done with this. So
The song, and you had the mask, and you constructed the mask.
I constructed the mask all by myself, and the shape of the mask came from the shape of the music, or the form, the feel of the music that I was getting from it. So you see, like even in his brow, you see these highs and lows in his face, and like it's been in storage, so it's kind of warped. But throughout, like even in his smile, there's the high points and the low points and and it's distorted. It's not smooth. It's rough, and that's all about the journey that he's been on. So I wanted to put that into the mask. After I finished with this piece, I wanted to continue working on it. Like I knew there was more to say, so I created 3 more masks to go along with it, and came up with Black in the Box. Had some really good conversations with people, had some really difficult conversations with some people.
What were the difficult conversations?
I invited people to speak to me. It was an open invitation, so anybody could say anything. But I was caught off guard by this particular man, because one of the first things he said to me was, well, I felt that the piece was too long. And at the time, the piece was only like 35 minutes. So for him to say 35 minutes was too long to speak about hundreds of years of oppression, like that hit me hard. I'm like, this is the reason why I'm doing this show, because it's a difficult conversation and it's a long conversation, but it still needs to happen. And like this,
you gave that person a taste of
right.
it.
Like it was a microsecond of the whole experience. So that's why that's why I still want to do it, because I know he's not the only one that's feeling that way, or would feel that way, that this piece is too long. Right now it's at 50 minutes, so I know he'd really hate it now. Yeah, like it's and I had a lot of conversations like that where people were just like, well, it just made me feel uncomfortable, and I don't like my theater to make me feel uncomfortable. And I'm just like, well, why are you coming to the theater? Like, that's fine if you want to come and just be entertained and laugh and sing along during a musical or something, but this this art matters, this story matters. And if you don't want to experience it, then that's, I mean, it's not fine, but like, that's the choice you're going to make. And that's why we aren't going to move forward, because like, you have those opinions, and you're not willing to have these uncomfortable conversations, you know?
Something that you're doing, a character that you're portraying, piece of truth in the room, is hitting the audience member in a particular way that's
Right.
making them uncomfortable, is something that the last person spoke of. Greg Hanthorne actually just spoke on that in terms of the power of theater.
Right.
That's the piece.
Yeah, right. And it's an intimate piece. Like, it's
But it's also very gracious. You're very warm and kind, especially with the people that you have participate, because there's
Yeah.
a audience participation in the show.
Yeah.
And it's never I never got a sense that you were making fun of them or punishing them.
No,
Yeah.
It's all in an effort to show that we're all complicit in the world. Like, we all have a hand in like why the world is the way it is. And we need to find more positive ways to move forward, rather than just adding to what is it I want to say? Adding to the insanity, really. That's all it is. And having audience participation, it's that was just my little way of being like, hey guys, like, this is all of us. It's not just white people. It's not just black people. Like, we all have a hand in this.
Speaking of the now, instead of adding to the insanity, how about
Right.
not do that?
Yeah, and when I say like, we all have a hand in it, even ignoring it or not educating yourself about it, like, that's what I mean. It's not like I think everyone's out like being racist and hateful and mean toward each other. It's just that, like, I recognized in myself that I didn't know as much as I should, or I wasn't speaking up when I should, or I didn't educate myself enough. So this piece, like, there's a duality to it, because I was learning as I was presenting in hopes that the audience would learn as well. So it was a piece for me to grow as well. Like, it's not like I was calling myself out as well. So it's not ever just the fault of one group. Like, it's a web. Like, we're all connected.
So the audience member who came up to you and said, I thought it was a little long, trying to be helpful?
I think he was trying to be helpful. Like, he actually like bought me a beer and sat down, and he's a kind of staple there, but he was just really trying to be helpful. He's seen a lot of theater, and so he kind of had that gravitas of, I know theater. So so like, I wasn't angry with him. Like, I was just a little thrown off, but he was trying to be helpful. But I think that's a problem that we have, is people are trying to be helpful in a way that's not actually helpful. Like, they're projecting themselves on you instead of letting the piece speak to them. I'll give you an example. I made a status like a week ago, talking about how I'll need to speak to my son later about the dangers of the world, and adding jogging while black to the list of things that we need to have a conversation about to protect him and the world. And people commented on it, and there were some people who were just like saying, well, not all people are racist. Don't raise him to be fearful. Like, and these were white people. And then there was another man who jumped on and was like, well, what was the young man doing in the neighborhood that made him seem suspect, or why did he like even grab the gun? So I would suggest that you tell your son, or the lesson to your son is to put his hands up and listen to authority figures when approached. And like, angered me. And I didn't even respond to that comment because like, you are a white man telling me how to raise my son in the world where he is hated for no reason, or he will be hated for no reason, and people will see him as a threat for no reason. So like, don't tell me to tell my son to submit to anyone who gets in his face or threatens him. That's not right. Like, it's up to you to go out into the world and use your privilege and speak to these people who are being so like hateful, like and blind about it. It's not up to me to tell my son, hey, like you need to submit to these people. Like, no, like that's how that change doesn't happen that way. Like, you need to speak to people that are perpetuating all this. That's the only way we're going to move forward. If you guys move on from this whole I hate you because you're black type thing, or I hate you because you're Hispanic, or just because you're not like me. Like, I shouldn't have to deal with that. We shouldn't have to deal with that as a collective. Like, that's not right. We're having a conversation. Like, I'm never outly rude to someone. Like, I may have my moments where I'm kind of a jerk sometimes, but like, we all do. But like, I'm not outwardly hateful toward people. I'm not going to teach my son to be any other way. He will grow up to be respectful and understanding of people that are different from him, but I'm not going to teach him to be afraid or to submit to people. He will speak his mind and be the best version of himself. That will be as a black man. And there are realities that black men and women have to deal with that other people don't have to deal with. So like, for me to teach him anything else would be irresponsible and unfair to him.
It's amazing to me that someone would comment on your Facebook feed.
Yeah, it's just like the audacity,
yeah,
like the privilege that you're showing right now, that you can say to me, hey, teach your son to respond to me in this way and there won't be a problem. Like, no, like, you need to change your response, and you need to change the way like people like you are responding, because like it's not my place to make them realize it. Like, we've been trying that for the longest time. They need to look at a person that looks like them and speak and have that conversation, because it's not working. Like, whenever like you see a black protest or black people speaking up, it's thugs or gangsters or troublemakers, but then you have people walking into government buildings with guns because everything is shut down, and they just want to go to Home Depot and get their flowers, or they want to go sit on the patio and have a beer. And then we get called thugs and gangsters because we're upset because black men are being killed in the street. Like, what, like, make that make sense for me. Like, it doesn't, and it's not right.
Don't add to the insanity.
We have a facade of progress, and there hasn't been that much progress. Yeah, we've had a black president, but you're still chasing people down in the streets and killing them for no reason. Like, so yes, there has been forward movement, but there needs to be more.
That's what Dr. J was talking about. She said,
Yeah.
I don't want to hear of solutions, and I don't want to hear of progress. I want clarity.
Right.
I want clarity on that comment that gentleman felt like he had the right to offer you the opinion on how to raise your son.
Like, we need clarity and we need equity. And that's the only way we're going to move forward. I didn't say we need equality, it's equity. It's the opportunity to have what this person has, or to have the freedoms, or feel the safety that this person has. You just want an equitable chance to get to that level. And right now we don't have that.
In grad school, the culture that was giving Dr. J some, as she said, trauma. I didn't know it was actually traumatic for her, which was upsetting to hear. But now I understand. She dealt with, don't tell me that I am racist. Don't come here to this classroom and make me feel bad for something that I have never done.
Right.
I don't have a racist bone in my body. So stop preaching to me.
Right. Yep. And it's and like that's the verbiage that they're using of don't preach to me, like that just makes me cringe. If you feel threatened or uncomfortable by that conversation, then you need to take a better look at yourself and question yourself on why you're having those feelings. Like it's not because it's not preaching, like it's a conversation. Like that's not for you to just completely submit to me. Like no one should have to do that, you know? It's like, it's an acting exercise. It's a exercise in listening and responding. And like, you really have to listen first. When people are like, don't preach to me, you're not listening, you're just responding. If I'm just responding to someone and not really listening to the words they're saying. So yeah.
It might take practice if it takes me practice to go, wow, this conversation is making me uncomfortable. All I really need to do is breathe. There's nothing I need to say.
A response can be no response, just breathe that person in. There's no rebuttal. And like, I'm learning this even in my marriage. Sometimes like I get really defensive. I need to check myself sometimes and calm down.
When you get defensive, does she just like?
Well, I mean, it's
you get in there.
We both do that. Like call each other out, and we could be better about it.
Where did you two find each other? In grad school?
No, we actually met in undergrad. We both started at Holy Cross College. It's a brother school of Notre Dame. And like, we just became really good friends. And she moved to Chicago. She went to Columbia for a year and then moved back to Indiana. And we both went to IU. And we've been together for, we're coming up on our 6th wedding anniversary. And we've been together for 10 years. And so she actually came down to graduate school with me. We were married for a year before we made that move. The biggest reason why I chose to come down to Georgia was because of that opportunity to get a teaching degree, and some actor training and some to help me clarify some things as an artist. But also, it was away from the Midwest and it was really warm down here. So,
all of my friends in Chicago are listening to you very intently.
Yeah, I mean, that's what made it easy. And also, Camille was just more like, I'd rather, have a different, I'd have a change of scenery. And like, it wasn't just me moving my life, it was the both of us. So we had to have conversations about what would be an ideal situation for both of us. We're both the type where like winters just depress us and like we become homebodies when it's really cold. So Georgia just seemed like the right choice, and I'm glad I did it. Like, I have lots of good friends and connections down here. I learned a lot. I have a teaching degree. I wouldn't have developed Black in the Box, or I don't think I would have gotten to the point of where I'm really like excited about creating my work if I hadn't come to Georgia, because like that's the space that they set up. That's the environment that they set up for us.
When I did a play together, we had that experience in the dressing room and backstage and what that's like. And then we had the great experience of you coming up to Young Harris and being in the room together that way.
Right.
And it's hard to explain that to people and just going, they're both fun.
Yeah, like there's just more variety of what I can do now. I can feel comfortable in going into a classroom and saying, this is what we're going to do. It works for me. It doesn't have to work for you, but we're going to explore anyway. And if I just went to a straight up performers conservatory, like I don't think I would have that confidence or the want to go into a classroom to share what I can do. I'd be worried about going to Broadway or just getting in a tour or something like that. But right now, like I have so many options, it makes me more marketable. I'm just hoping someone realizes that.
No, definitely. You're great at what you do. I look forward to the fall. Are you going to do 12th night again?
Yes. Yeah. If it happens, like I'm
November's a good slot.
Yeah. So like it should work for me. Yeah. And it's like perfect timing too. Like it's toward the end of the year where some film and television work is kind of dwindling down until you get back into the new year and the pilot season and all that. So
and
like
if we can, just the thought of being with that play with an audience would be very, I think it would be like a feast.
We had a really good cast. Like I had fun. Like there was never a day where I showed up to rehearsal or to do a show and I was like, man, I'm not feeling it today. And like I've had that with some experiences where I'm just like, all right, let's just get through this. But this was like, there was such a good energy within the cast. Like there was no drama or anything that I knew of.
No, I felt the same thing.
So
I felt the looming Tobies over my shoulders. Like, when am I going to show up? They're going to be like, sorry, Nick Faircloth is going to take your role, or
right.
Maurice Ralston's going to step in at this point. Thanks for your service.
No, man, you're it.
You're it. And so we'll have that, and then you can come back to Young Harrison and come back and work with the students again. What's going on with the film?
We're still wanting to do it. It's just a matter of when. I have a feeling that once things get lifted, there will still be some hesitancy from people about getting together in groups. So we need to strategize a way where there's not a lot of us like on set at one time. We're not going to have very large groups, but it's all about making the cast and crew comfortable, making them feel assured that they're going to be taken care of. So right now we have a thought that we'll get to start shooting in July, but that may move to August. We just have to hurry up and wait.
Cool. I'm just job security. I'm thinking as you create your empire out here.
I'm all for it. That's the thing that I always like think about is like, what people do I want to work with, and like being able to create my own work and like seek out those people is useful so it's like it's in my best interest to be an entrepreneur. I don't like waiting for opportunities. I like making opportunities. And that's for me and people that I believe in. Some of my friends, like I went to Orlando Fringe that first year, and I had such a great time. Like the following, 2 years after that, I somehow dragged a couple friends into it. Like, you have to do this. There was a time we didn't know what we were going to do, but we got a spot in the festival, and I was just like, guys, we have to do it. And like they're such good improv partners that they were just like, yes, and like we did it. And then we presented a show, The Encampment of Dr. Moreau. Now it's called The Asylum of Dr. Moreau, and we won awards for it. So it's like sometimes you just have to like go for it, like even if you don't know what's going to happen. Like we did this show in a 20 by 20 tent, and in the courtyard at the Shake Center in Orlando. And it happened to be a really rainy summer. And so it rained all the time. And then the way the courtyard was set up, it was sloped so that the water would rush in under our tent and like flood the place. So there were times where we were like sweeping out water like before our shows, before the audience showed up. And then there was another time where it started coming really like down during our performance. It added to the atmosphere of the performance, but then we looked over and we saw water slowly trickling in at the bottom. So we sped it up and we were like, we have to get these people out of here. Because there were people sitting on the floor in bean bags, and then there were people in chairs. And so we were worried about the people on the bean bags on the floor. So we got them out of there dry and ready to go see their next show.
You've got, you got street cred if you've been able to do that.
It was an experience. And like we went back the next year with the same show, but we changed it a bit. And we had an actual theater space. And when we're out telling people about the show, they were like, oh, you guys were here last year in that tent. Yeah, it was hot in there. Yeah, it was an experience, but it was fun. People remember us. And my hope is to get back to that festival next year. It got canceled this year. So that's unfortunate. But
can you talk a little bit about Complicit, your theater company, just before we call it a day?
Yeah, so like it comes from the idea that we all have a hand in the bad that we're doing in the world, or the bad that is happening in the world, and recognizing that and doing something about it. So the pieces of work that I like to produce and create through that name of Complicit, it deals with humanity and the problems that we see in the world. So I had Black in the Box, where that obviously talks about the Black experience in the world. And then the Asylum of Dr. Moreau, which is, it's originally H.G. Wells' The Island of Dr. Moreau. But what we did with it is we just turned it into like a shadow and puppet show. And then we liked that story, and it fit with Complicit because it talks about pain, humanity, and cruelty in the world, and how we deal with it and how we move past it. And like, do we adapt to it, or do we let it hold us back? So I really liked working on that show in particular, because it wasn't just me coming up with these things. It was trying to understand what the story was telling me, or even what I could glean from the story, and put it in my own kind of framing device. There just needs to be a name, so it's a collective and not just Marlon, because like that's not what I want it to be. Like, we're creating this together. So the first time I went out as Complicit was with my friends Charlie Cromer, great performer, and John Terry, also a great performer. So so I just pull in people, and I work as the producer, as the lead contact, and so really the name is just something to put us all under, and like, so I just like do the footwork and making sure it all happens.
The cockroaches scurry and they attack and they broadcast in a very particular way on Facebook.
Right.
It's easy to spot.
Yeah. Well, and it's like with anything, like anything can be abused and used in the wrong way, like to create those types of opportunities for hate speech. So like the way I use Facebook, like I'll crack a dumb joke, or I'll post something about Augie, and then like every once in a while I'll have something serious to say in the back of my mind that just needs to come out. And it's never to, like, I don't get on people's stuff to argue with them. I know over texting or the internet, like, it's easy to be misunderstood, and some of these conversations just need to be had in person. And like, we can sit there and be keyboard warriors all we want. And like that just gives people an opportunity to literally delete and like not listen to what you're saying, or just delete you as a whole and just be like, I don't want to hear what this person is saying because they don't agree with me. People abuse Facebook a lot. It could do a lot of good, but people are just so, I don't know, worried about themselves and their views and their guilt that they'll just do whatever they want, and they don't really care about other people. I don't know.
Fuck.
It's a shame. It's a shame.
Dude, you're awesome. This is great. How do we end this? What do we do?
I don't know.
I don't know. Let's try some. Let's just look this way. Can you turn towards me?
Turn toward you?
Let's do like a profile thing. Let's see if we can make this work.
Oh, look at my armpits. Yeah.
You look like you've been working out.
Yeah.
I want to see what this is like for editing purposes. How you doing, Marlon?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I've been staring at your pit stains for about an hour.
I mean, they're pretty marvelous.
Well, I just wanted to see what that looks like.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about doing something like that for a little short project that I want to do. What? Yeah.
Thanks, man. This has been great.
Yeah, thank you for having me. My pit.
Yeah.
Wow. See ya.
1, 2, 3,
All right, take
4.
it easy.
Bye.
Bye.
One-legged Roger and his one-legged mother lived in a house in downtown Atlanta. One had the right and one had the left. Together they were happy as a two-legged man. Roger loved his gin.
What is it? What?
It's a series of questions.
I don't know why I thought of Linklater. Yeah, but it's like this specific person. I don't know why it's gonna bog. Let me look real quick.
How to give a talk back.
What was it? Fitz. No, it's not Fitz.
Not Fitzmaurice. She's another voice teacher.
Yeah, why is voice on my mind? Because she might have handed it. Yeah, like I think she does. I'm trying to look up. One sec.
Oh, that's gonna bug me.
Yeah, me too. Like I can't get over it.
Let me pull up. I have it on my YouTube. Black in the box. Critical response. Okay, I'm close. Oh, yes. Liz Lerman, yes!
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
I knew it was an L.
Liz Lerman. Thank you, Liz.
Yeah. So the Liz Lerman method is what we used for the talk back.
Sherry dropped her purse out on the sidewalk, fumbling all around for her keys. Everybody's leaving now with someone, and Sherry gets herself up off her knees. Where did all the men go in this big fat city? My brother wouldn't want to walk away. He'd say, darling, I know where you're at, and I've been there before. You need some company. She's just gonna go home and fall on the floor, wake up in the clothes she wore the night before, knowing that I scold her about the way she's living, knowing that I pick up all the pieces she's been missing. What's the matter, baby? Why are you so sad? You look like an angel, but you're walking like you had too many heartaches, too much wine. Sun's gonna come up and I will never leave you. She got married in a church in Loganville, gardenias and pennies in her shoes. He left cigarette burns in her wedding dress. Her mama cried on the day she left. She's just gonna run off and do what he says. My girl's always getting pushed around like that. I raised her to be tougher, but she's such a fool. Could've waited longer for a love that's true. What's the matter, baby? Why are you so sad? You look like an angel, but you're walking like you had too many heartaches, too much wine. Sun's gonna come up and I will never leave you. Market on her block wonders why she's buying beer at 2 o'clock. Where did all the men go in this big fat city? He left a little darling for a barroom quickie. She's just gonna go home and fall on the floor, wake up in the clothes she wore the night before. Knowing that I scold her about the way she's living, knowing that I pick up all the pieces she's been missing. What's the matter, baby? Why are you so sad? You look like an angel, but you're walking like you had too many heartaches, too much wine. Sun's gonna come up and I will never leave. What's the matter, baby? Why are you so sad? You look like an angel, but you're walking like you had too many heartaches, too much wine. Sun is gonna come up and I will never leave you. I'll